Hello and good evening, everyone, wherever you are watching from. Whether you are watching me on YouTube, whether you're watching in our Facebook group or on my Facebook page, I'd like to say good night to you and welcome. My name is Tabitha Liebert, and I am a conflict management strategist. And I help leaders of diverse teams manage conflict in their workplaces so that they can close the gap between issues and outcomes and create a peaceful, productive, and profitable workplace. And I am so glad that you can join me this evening. One of the reasons I decided to go live in May is because I noticed that it was just sort of a long slug between the beginning of the year when we're all bright and happy and things are wonderful, and when we start to assess what we have done and where we are at the end of the first quarter, and we're staring down the barrel of Q2. And so, this in the middle of being in the middle of Q2 and having maybe the longest month, I have noticed that it has been easier for people to feel burdened by conflict and for people to feel just blah and just so hard pressed by being able to lead their teams and do their work and do the work that God has called them into this earth to do. And so I thought that I would give a little helping hand and come on in May to talk every day about a conflict management strategy. So every day in May, I'm going to come on and talk. Now, I am going to come on between 6 and 7 most of the time, but if there is travel planned or anything like that, what I'm going to do is hop on earlier in the morning. So once you follow my page, you'll get the replay, but my suggestion is to follow me on YouTube, and there you're gonna be able to get a notification every time I go live. So, like the YouTube channel and just hit subscribe. All right, so today's tip is to talk about apology. This is day one, and today we're gonna talk about apology. And I like to call apology the great equalizer because we understand that everyone has experienced hurt. Sometimes I like to say, look, if you have not experienced hurt, you haven't lived, right? And also, I think everyone has also caused hurt. The emotional impact of actions and of inactions could remain for a long time in our hearts and on our minds. And this can affect the way we think, and it can trigger emotions in us and affect the way we behave and react. And so today I want to introduce apology and place it on the table as an effective conflict resolution strategy, an effective tool for reconciliation and for restoration. There is immense power in apology. Apologies help us to heal humiliations and grudges that we may have been feeling. And also, us apologizing to someone else helps to heal their hearts and to take away some of the sting of what we did. An apology also sometimes removes that desire for retribution, and it generates forgiveness in people, among teams, and in groups. When you apologize to someone, there's a reduced fear of retaliation because you understand that you have placed your apology in their hands and now you are waiting for them to decide. But whatever they decide to do, you feel that your heart is clear because you have apologized to them. And more so, a good apology can relieve us from feeling guilt for what we did and for feeling ashamed because of how we behaved. Now, there's always a good time to give an apology, right? Timing is very important when you're going to apologize to someone. And I usually like to suggest that we apologize at the beginning of a conversation. and to do it quickly. And when we do it, to consider the emotional state of the person who has been offended. If we do that, we're allowing anger to diffuse that apology, right? Now, also, you want to make sure that the person is ready to receive your apology. So if you think that that's not the right time because the person might still be upset with you, you want to wait a little bit, and you want to make sure that your actions show that you really are sorry and that you want to restore the relationship and you want to apologize for what you've done. So if you need to, make sure that you allow anger to diffuse. So, although it's always good to apologize immediately after the fact or as quickly as possible, if that person seems to be angry and an apology would inflame them, you want to hold back for a little bit and wait until you think they are ready to receive that apology. An offender's apology can rid the emotional burden from that offended person. Right? If you apologize, it takes away that emotional burden that was placed on that person that you wronged. And apologizing to someone helps their emotional management, and it helps yours too, because you will be feeling a sense of relief that you have unburdened yourself and that you have apologized for what you do. And you feel relief that you're showing the level of maturity that can help you to walk into a room with a really good apology. And by doing that, it opens the door for sincere communication between the parties, and it reduces conflict. Now, there are many, many components for an effective apology. And the one that I want to present to you today is in a few steps. The first step is for the first step is to encourage acceptance of a responsibility for what was done. This means that you're not leading into the apology by blaming the person for how they feel, um, by detracting from what you have done, by trying to distract them or trying to move the conversation in a different direction. You're stepping into the arena with a sole purpose, and that is to ask for an apology. So accept responsibility for what was done. And having done that, affirm what was done and to whom. So it's not enough to say, well, I'm sorry if what I said hurt, or, well, I'm sorry if anyone was hurt. You want to affirm what was done. I'm sorry that I called you out of your name. And you also want to acknowledge to whom it was done. So I'm sorry that my behavior was towards your mother was disrespectful, and that encompasses that, right? Also, you want to demonstrate an understanding of how that offended person might feel. By doing that, you want to connect with them and let them know that you understand how they felt in the moment and you regret being the cause of that feeling. And when you do that, also acknowledge the result, the damage, the hurt, whatever feeling that person experienced. You want to acknowledge that feeling and be sure to let them know that that was not your intention. And I trust that indeed it was not your intention, right? Because when you do that, when you sincerely express remorse through an apology, using this anatomy, accepting responsibility, affirming what was done and to whom, demonstrating an understanding of that person's feelings and what they experienced, acknowledging the resulting hurt, and sincerely expressing remorse, that is an apology that is going to go a full way to showing that you understand what was done and that you're sorry. And you always want to close out by ensuring that they know that it wasn't intended and that you're going to do your best not to do this in the future. Right? Now, usually when we think about apologies, we think about personal situations. But I want to share with you today um, something that happened in the commercial world. And it's an example of an apology that I want to share with you, an example of a famous apology and its outcome. And I like to call it the Tylenol crisis apology because in 1982, Johnson and Johnson, which was the company behind Tylenol, they faced a crisis when some people in the Chicago area died after taking extra strength Tylenol capsules. And unfortunately, those capsules were laced with cyanide. And that spread fear and panic among consumers. And of course, there was a resultant death. The company responded to the crisis, and their response is often considered one of the best examples of corporate crisis management and apology. Here's what the company did that was considered so well done. They immediately issued a voluntary recall of all the products from the market, and that cost them over 100 million. After that, Johnson and Johnson also collaborated with law enforcement agencies to investigate the tampering of their medication. They established a hotline for consumers who were concerned and they provided information to them. They developed a new tamper-proof packaging for their products. And then, in addition to that, they went ahead and they launched a very extensive public relations campaign to educate consumers about their new safety measures. And of course, they did this to regain their trust. And the CEO and the leaders expressed genuine concern for the victims. They demonstrated commitment to rectifying the situation. And all of this played a significant role in rebuilding the damaged trust and salvaging their brand. So much so that in March 2022, almost 2 decades later, there was their crisis management response was used in a New York Times article. And the New York Times article's headline was Tylenol made a hero of Johnson and Johnson, the recall that started them all. So this is to illustrate to you that understanding the anatomy of an apology, whether you're in a personal situation or in your workplace environment, which you want to carry your whole self into the workplace and you want to be able to express apologies in the workplace, being able to do that is going to give you a leg up and give you a much better personal brand as someone who is able to admit something that's done, to rectify it, and to ask for sincere apologies and to move on. Now, how do you turn these insights into real life actions? The invitation for you today is to encourage yourself to reflect. And by reflecting, I mean reflect on past conflicts. So think about a past conflict that you were involved in. Reflect on it. And if there is something that has not yet been resolved, and if there is a part of the conflict that you own, the invitation is to offer a sincere apology to promote healing and reconciliation. And so, my question in closing today is what would that look like for you? I'm happy to hear your thoughts. Share them with me, and I will come back in and also reply and share mine with you. And so, thank you for listening. And if you've enjoyed this, stay tuned to our YouTube channel for conflict resolution tips, one for every day of the month. And if you would like to go on a journey with us, if you'd like to take part um, in enhancing your conflict management skills as a leader of a diverse team or as a potential leader of a diverse team, then don't miss our upcoming workshop. Reach out or let us know if you want to sign up. So leave a comment if you're interested, because by signing up, you're going to get the opportunity to apply these tips in a practical setting, and you're going to receive a free copy of our book as a bonus. And you're also going to get some wonderful surprises. So if you are interested in joining us for a live workshop in early June, let me know by saying so in the comments, and we will certainly get you registered early, early, early. All right, thank you so much for listening. Wishing you a marvelous May in Momentum May. This is day one of Momentum May, and I look forward to you joining me for the rest of May right here between 6 and 7 p.m. for conflict management strategies to make you a wonderful leader. Take care and have a great evening. Bye.